Shalom, Yashala, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Yasharala. Kol Haloyim Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Harakah Kodash, for blessing our elders with the spirit of truth so that we may know. Shout out to the Akim and the Akwah that's keeping the faith in the work. Shall keep at it. It's your brother Abayah coming at you with more precepts. It's the book of Baruch, chapter 4, and verse 8. It says, "Ye have forgotten the everlasting power that brought you up, and ye have grieved Yerushalayim that nursed you. For when she saw the wrath of power coming upon you, she said, Hearken, O ye that dwell about Zion, power hath brought upon me great mourning. For I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting brought upon them. With joy did I nourish them, but sent them away with weeping and mourning." Right? Jerusalem is weeping and mourning over us not being in our homeland, because it's being occupied by individuals who could care less, man. It's being occupied by individuals who don't really respect the truth of the history of that place. And that's why it's a constant war over there, because you got two groups of individuals that don't belong, just being real. All right? Two groups of individuals that do not belong, but they claiming that it's theirs. All right? Let me see. Hold on one second. Salat. All right, so this is a quote from Egypt's old president. I want to say from the 70s or 60s or 70s. I could be wrong. But his name is President Gamal Abdel Nasser. Right? And he was quoted as saying, "The people that occupy that land in Israel will never be able to live here in peace because they left here black but came back white." So basically what he was saying was, it's a whole nother people that's occupying that land, and they are not the original people of that land. Right? And you have people over there that's claiming to be the people of the land, but it's scriptures pertaining to when those people go back into their land from exile, things would be happening on the earth that have not been happening since those people have been in that land. All right? So, with that being said, I'm going to let this video play and I'll be back.
Well, while all eyes are on Ukraine, Palestinians have once again been under attack by Israeli forces. Tensions have escalated between the two groups during this holy month, Muslims celebrating Ramadan and Jews celebrating Passover. Both groups fight over holy sites that are important to both Abrahamic religions, particularly a site that is known as Al-Aqsa Mosque by the Muslims and Temple Mount by the Jews. On Friday, April 15th, Israeli soldiers stormed the mosque, injuring over 160 Palestinians and arresting more than 400. Video began circulating online of Israeli soldiers indiscriminately attacking unarmed women, the elderly, and disabled. There have been other incursions in cities inside the West Bank that have led to the deaths of over a dozen Palestinians. The deaths include a 14-year-old boy, a 17-year-old boy, a 34-year-old lawyer, and a half-blind widow with 6 children. The woman was thought to have a knife. She didn't. One of the boys threw a Molotov cocktail, and the lawyer had at one point participated in clashes. In response to the attacks, Hamas fired rockets from Gaza into Israel that were intercepted by the Iron Dome defense system and didn't cause any real damage. Yet in response, the Israelis conducted airstrikes on Gaza, hitting what they say was a Hamas weapons depot. Now, it would be unfair to act like the Palestinians are completely blameless. There have been mass shootings and stabbings conducted over the past few weeks that have left numerous Israelis dead. But here's Mehdi Hassan explaining why this conflict isn't really a both sides issue.
Now it's time to hand over to my friend Ayman Mohyuddin, but before I do, Ayman, a topic that you and I have covered for years is back in the headlines, especially since Friday. Israel's occupation of East Jerusalem, the West Bank and Gaza, and the violence we're now seeing in and around one of Islam's holiest sites, the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. More than 170 people injured, more than 20 Palestinians killed. What bothers me, Ayman, is that some of the headlines in the news really don't do justice to the nature of that violence on the ground. It's always about clashes. In my view, a bit of a lazy journalistic term because it doesn't identify who or what is driving the violence. Clashes implies two equal sides with equal powers, doesn't it? Two equally responsible parties for the violence. And yet the missing context here always matters. One side is the occupier, the other side is occupied. One side...
See, the reason why you never hear that narrative, you never hear anything negative spoken of by the country Israel, is because they are the daughter of Babylon's top ally. They're their spiritual ally. Right? I know a lot of people tend to, point more towards the Vatican. I would lean more towards Israel because those people have to answer to the people in Israel. You understand what I'm saying? So the daughter of Babylon has been paying Israel since the Holocaust, since they first started receiving, reparations for that. And it's been an ongoing thing. So they got major say so when it comes to what gets spoken of by who and how things get spoken of by who as it pertains to these people that are occupying that land. Right? So basically, you can't just say whatever it is you want to say about these folk. It could possibly be a repercussion behind it. Henceforth, when the news runs a story about something that's going on over there, exactly what bro just said is how it's reported. It's a clash. If it's not, it's a clash. It's Palestine has done something to Israel, or Palestinians have, I don't know, bombed a certain place, and maybe one person get killed, and two others get injured. But it'll never get reported on as the people that are occupying that land, right, are terrorizing the Palestinians. You'll never hear it, right? And it's all because the propaganda system doesn't push the issue against Israel. Never. I've never seen it. All right.
Right now in Jerusalem is throwing stones, yes. The other side is firing stun grenades and rubber bullets, including reportedly into people's eyes. And look, I get it. The Israelis have their security concerns. You have more than a dozen people in Israel killed, many others wounded over the past few weeks in horrific shootings and stabbings, and we all, of course, condemn those attacks on innocent civilians. But, Ayman, that doesn't justify, though, the scenes we're seeing in Jerusalem right now. It doesn't justify an Israeli operation inside one of Islam's holiest sites during this month of Ramadan. I'm pretty sure people would be up in arms if the American government, say, was violently raiding a major church during Easter, would they not?
Palestinians feel their land and homes are being taken from them, and what they're doing by throwing rocks and Molotov cocktails is defending their existence.
And in which they really are, right? It's not that country is not even allowed to have certain weaponry, bro. Right? That's how much power the people that occupy that land have. They won't allow that whole nation of people to go into anything nuclear for real, right? They may have, bits and pieces, but as far as a full functional nuclear system, they are not allowed to have those things, right? But I digress. As far as that land goes, the reason why it's mourning, like the script that we brought out first, Baruch chapter 4, verse 8 through 11, is because we're not there, right? Scripture says once the Most High's people get back into that land, it will be peace on this earth. The earth won't know war anymore. And those people have been occupying that land since 1948, if I'm not mistaken. And it's been wars, constant wars, and constant everything else going on, right? And that's contrary to the scriptures. And they claiming to be the people of the book, but they life history and their lifestyle is contrary to the prophecies written in the book about the Most High's people in the end times, or in general, the Most High's people, period, right? But I'm going to go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64. It says, and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. That happened in 70 AD. 70 AD, prior to 70 AD was the last time we were known as a nation in our homeland. That was the last time. After 70 AD, we got kicked out basically by the Romans and dispersed into different parts of Africa, right? And, through different slave trades, because the transatlantic slave trade is not the only slave trade that we went through, right? We were in servitude in Greece and Rome and Morocco and Spain, right? Then, we were a part of the sub-Saharan slave trade. The transatlantic slave trade was the last one, right? But we've been in several others. But the Most High just said he was going to scatter us among all people. This is prophecy, right? And it happened to us, right? Not just one tribe, but the nation of Israel were to be scattered among all people, right? And it's an individual or a group of individuals that helped our enemies do this. They were involved in all of the slave trades, one way or the other. This is the book of Obadiah. Go to verse 11. It says, in the day that thou stoodest on the other side, and the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. Right? But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger, neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Right? After 70 AD, we ain't the people no more. Now we got these individuals that's claiming to be the people, who really can't recite a true history about themselves prior to 1948, for real, for real. Have you ever asked one of them why they call themselves Ashkenazi? When in scripture, Ashkenazi comes from Japheth. Don't come from, he's not of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right? But they wear these titles proudly. See, the thing is, the Most High blessed his spirit of truth back on this earth. So now his people, we learning now. We understand our people were destroyed for a lack of knowledge. We get that. So now we crave knowledge. And in us craving knowledge is really us coming back to our former self, which is the thing that set us apart from everybody else. Knowledge. We were blessed with righteous knowledge. Divine knowledge, man. All right? And the Most High is blessing us to have that back, so they can't just say no anything. They can't just throw up a statement out there and we run behind it like it's true. Nah, we research and we come to find out, man, y'all lacking. Y'all people that's occupying that land are lacking. All right? You don't fit prophecy. You don't fit description of the people in the book. right? Even the way you living now is anti-script, right? With your rainbow days, and it ain't got nothing to do with Noah. You know what I'm talking about, right? So let me see. I'm gonna go to the book of Isaiah, Isaiah 63 and 18. Says, the people of thy holiness have possessed it but a little while. Right? Speaking about our homeland, really speaking about us being in charge of things. We only been in charge for a small amount of time. When King David was ruling, King Solomon was ruling. That's really all we had. That plus, right, the Dark Ages. 'Cause I know a lot of people just think when the Dark Ages was going on, we were in Africa, kicking it with the lions and giraffes. Well, no. For approximately 1,000 years, so-called blacks ruled Europe. I mean Ireland, I'm talking about Scotland, I'm talking about the UK, right? And it's proof. I'm not just saying this. You can look it up, man. Look this information up. We living in the age of information. You don't have to have a super high-tech computer. Now all you need is your smartphone and internet access. And you can look up any information that you feel. Right? So look it up. I ain't making it up. Right? But it says in the book of Isaiah, chapter 63 and verse 18, the people of thy holiness have possessed it but a little while. Our adversaries have trodden down thy sanctuary. We are thine. Thou never bearest rule over them. They were not called by thy name. Right? But they steadily calling themselves the people of the book. Just saying. Right? So we go to the book of Luke. Because it's all prophetic, man. Luke chapter 21 and verse 23 says, but woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And that's what we're seeing now. That's why it's never peace over there, because it's being trodden down by the Gentiles, right? But the beauty of the Most High is, hey, we seeing the times of the Gentiles being fulfilled. And we seeing whoa, 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 right? We seeing Revelation 13. We seeing persecution of the saints. We're seeing Jacob's trouble. We're seeing all of the end time prophecies unfold, right? So that means that we ain't got too much time left, right? Or this place don't have too much time left, right? And go to the book of Sirach, which is Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, all right? Chapter 10 and verse 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. We're seeing that translation. We're seeing it, right? We're praying for it. We're rooting it on, right? Because I know they want us to just forget about everything and just, be humble servants, right? And make them feel good about their past and their present and hopefully their future too, by just putting off that quote-unquote angry black man. Put him off. Put him away. That was so long ago, right? There is no such thing as racism anymore, right? Like, how you gonna tell me about my world that I live in? Who the hell are you? We can clearly see the life you live because you flaunt it in our face every chance you get, right? But you can't speak nothing on what we going through. You don't know nothing about being at the bottom of society because you've been out of that realm for so long. You got out that realm with Alexander the Great, right? And you've been balling ever since. But the Most High says, because of these unrighteous dealings, and riches got by deceit. The kingdom is translated from one people to another. It's time, and it's due, and it's owed, and it's earned. Right? So, one more verse, and I end with that. Isaiah chapter 2. Because I know I said it's prophecies in the book that say when the Most High's people go back into their land, there will be no more wars on this earth. And those people have been in that land since 1948. And it's been plenty of war. You can't get around this, man. You cannot get around this. Right? So it says, Isaiah 2:1, the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways. Ain't nobody going to Jerusalem to be taught the ways of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Right? You can do whatever it is you want to in this earth. If you choose to go there, you can maybe link up with one of them if they'll have you. Other than that, ain't nobody going over there to learn that from them folk. Right? It says, and we will walk in his paths. Ain't nobody trying to walk in the paths of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai itself for the Most High's elect. That's it. Right? It says, for out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. It says, and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, meaning no more weaponry, and their spears into pruning hooks, which is a farming tool. Plowshares and pruning hooks are farming tools. Why? Because they're going to rebuild. Look at all of the damage that's been done on the earth, man. The air polluted, the water polluted, fake food, right? Fake social system. Everything just GMO and deceitful. Right? So they're going to build it back up right. It says, nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And they've been over there since 1948. And it's been plenty of wars. Right? So at the end of the day, man, matter of fact, Revelation 13:10. Let me see. It says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. There it is. If you did it, it must be done unto you. If you sowed it, you must reap it. You got to get that back, man. And the Most High not going to let you rest till he get that back. Ain't going to be no peace in the Middle East till he get that back. All right. So with that, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Ratazah, these precepts in this video were edifying. Call her Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Yahweh Kakudah Shalom Yashalom.